Infant circumcision used to be routine procedure. Back some 20 years ago, if a couple had a boy child, 99% of the time they'd have him circumcised right in the spot. Nowadays it's not done as much. It's only done maybe 60% of the time, which is more than half, but not as much as it used to be done. Now there's some controversy. Actually, there's quite a bit of controversy over circumcision. As of nowadays, there's some people who want it completely banned. And in the city of San Francisco, there's actually a movement to have it banned, where if this motion passes, that it would put a complete ban on infant circumcision, and parents who have it done, they could face up to a year in prison, from what I understand. Now, personally, I'm with San Francisco. I think it should be banned. The only exception would be perhaps religious reasons, like I know there's some Jewish people who have it done, and I don't want to tamper with anybody's religion, so I'm thinking maybe if it's done for religious reasons it should be allowed, but other than that, it should be completely banned. Now, if you disagree with me on that, I respect your viewpoint, and I really would like to hear where you're coming from, so go ahead, leave me a comment, send me a message, whatever. I really would like to hear your side of the argument. Now, some people who are in favor of it, they say that with circumcision it's cleaner, it's healthier, it stops certain diseases. But evidence has shown that proper hygiene works just as well. That if you have proper hygiene, there's no need for the circumcision, that it's just as clean, just as healthy, stops just as many diseases. Now, some people who are against tattoos, they say that when you get a permanent tattoo, that you're defacing the body. And I feel more or less the same way they do about circumcision. It's like a tattoo, you're defacing the body. Not to mention the fact it's extremely painful when done on an infant. I mean, you know, even if you do it on a grown man without anesthetics, even then it's extremely painful. But just imagine on a baby. You know, babies, they're much more sensitive to pain. There was a case of, in a supermarket, this baby, he pinched his hand in the wagon, and he was screaming his head off. You know, he was just screaming. Now, if a grown-up pinched his hand in the wagon, he might go, ow, but certainly wouldn't scream like the baby did. You know, babies, they're much more sensitive to pain. And people who think that newborn babies don't sense pain, it's been proven that babies feel pain while still in the womb. That even before they're born, while they're still in the womb, they can feel pain. So babies are fully sensitive to pain, and that sensitivity is much more than with a grown-up. Imagine, if you would, the pain of giving birth times 100. I mean, just giving birth, that in and of itself is quite painful. Now, multiply that by 100. That's what it feels like for a little infant to get circumcised. And especially at that early in your life, to experience that kind of pain, it could affect you in the unconscious part of your mind, and that could affect you for the rest of your life. And now, people who are in favor of infant circumcision, or in favor of being able to make that choice, they say that in this country we have freedom of choice. Or there's this one woman who told me herself that it's all about freedom of choice, not having other people make choices, like the government, not having the government make any choices for you. It's a personal choice. Not only her, but there's been other people who say that it's a personal choice, and that's why parents should be allowed to circumcise their babies, because it's a personal choice, and living in this country is all about not having the government or other people make choices for you. Now, I'm with them wholeheartedly about personal choices. I agree with them 100% about making your own choices, not having the government or other people make choices for you. But in this case, we're talking about the baby's choice. You know, the person who's getting circumcised, it's their choice. And not having other people make choices for you. That's what this flag stands for. This flag behind me, that's what it's all about. Not having the government, not having parents, not having anybody make choices for you. That's what this country is about. That's what this flag is about. Anybody who says otherwise is going completely against what this flag stands for. Now, it's obvious that parents do have to make some choices for their children. For instance, you can't let your children run across the street, or drink bleach, or do stuff like that. But there are limits as to what parents can choose for their children. For instance, parents cannot choose whether or not their child lives or dies and kills their child. They do that's murder. They will be charged and convicted of murder. So there's limits as to what kind of choices parents can make for their children. And circumcision is one of those choices that affects a child on through adulthood for the rest of their life. The same way that a tattoo does. You know, if a baby is circumcised, and then if the baby grows up and decides he doesn't want to be circumcised, there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas if a baby's not circumcised, he grows up, he decides he wants to be circumcised, he can then go have it done himself. Same thing with a tattoo. Could you ever imagine anybody taking their newborn baby to a tattoo parlor and getting the baby a permanent tattoo? You know, if they did that, the baby grows up, decides he doesn't want a tattoo, he's stuck with it. Whereas you don't tattoo your child, he grows up, he decides he does want a tattoo, he can go and have it done himself. You know, just like tattoos, you know, the circumcision, same thing. You know, I could not imagine anybody getting a baby a permanent tattoo. So we don't tattoo our babies, we don't circumcise our babies. It's that simple. I know this case of this man who's right now, he's doing a 6-year prison sentence. He was convicted to 6 years in prison. Why? Because he got his 7-year-old child a permanent tattoo. This was a 7-year-old boy. He had somebody tattoo that child with a permanent tattoo. Now he's doing a 6-year prison sentence for that. So I don't see how they could allow parents to make the choice whether or not a child gets circumcised. This man who had his 7-year-old child tattooed, he went to jail for that for 6 years. So I don't see how circumcision, I don't see why parents shouldn't get that same kind of punishment if they have their children circumcised, not to mention the doctors. So circumcision should be banned, and the parents who do it, they should go to jail for that, just like that man who had his 7-year-old boy tattooed. You know, that parents who have their children circumcised, they should be punished just as harshly as hypothetical parents who have a little baby tattooed. And doctors who do it, they're the ones who should be punished the heaviest. I think they should be charged and convicted of sexual assault and punished as such. They should be charged with sexual assault and they should face the full punishment as such. Now, I really would like to hear your viewpoint. As I said, that if you disagree with me, I respect that. I really would like to hear why you disagree with me, and you know, I would like to hear your side of the story. If you could just address what I said and tell me why, I really do like to hear the other side. So feel free, you know, tell me what you feel if you disagree with me. But as I said, that making your own choices, and that includes whether or not to be circumcised, that's what this flag stands for. That's what this country stands for. Thank you to everybody for watching this.